So a lot of times when I'm doing reviews for Bell Collective and I mention the name Thanos, many of you guys may not know who I'm talking about. So today I figured I would give you a visual representation of Thanos when I am talking about Cliff Rogers. Sky Squad, welcome back to the Ponderosa. We are here today to discuss Bell Collective. This episode in season 3 is called Clifton Rogers Neighborhood. Clifton Rogers, aka Thanos. Now, who is Thanos? You may be asking yourself, who is this infamous Thanos? Well, if you are a Marvel Comics, just obsessed fan like I am, you will know that he was the villain of the first decade, the overarching villain for the first decade of MCU films, resulting in Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, in case you haven't seen them. So, with the glove that he has on, he has several stones. And what those stones do is they allow him to control life in the universe. How and in what way? Simple. With the snap of his fingers, he made half of the universe disappear. So half the people on the planet, in the world, across the universe, disappeared. All right. He had that much control. Ergo, that is why I equate Cliff to Thanos, because Cliff wants to have the control over maybe not everyone in the world, but at least Latrice. And we got to talk about it. Okay. So, with that being said, when I refer to Cliff as Thanos, aka the Overseer, aka the Overlord, aka the Undertaker, okay, that is who I'm referring to. Thanos. All right. So let's get into the review. So for me, on a scale of 1 to 10, I gotta tell y'all what I'm gonna rate this episode. I'm gonna rate this episode probably a 10. I'm gonna rate it a 10. And let me tell you why I rate, Bell Collective on such a, for me, what I love about this show is I don't go into this show with any expectations. I do expect a brunch and I do expect new confessionals. And baby, they delivered in this episode, okay? We are this close to a brunch, okay? We are JJ's ponytail length close to a brunch. We are just a smidgen away from them ponytails be like, JJ, now love you, dog. But these struggle ponytails, they is got to go. Okay, they got to go. They got to go on the TV. Now you could do around the house, but when you on this show, I'm gonna need you to throw on a do rag or get them things braided or something like that. I will take the braids. You know what I'm saying? And I know your hair probably curly as all get out. Just wear it out. Give us a little curly fro or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that fro Candy got down to the Atlanta Housewives, confessionals or whatever. Take her wig. So anyway, I'm gonna get this episode a 10 because I just felt like I didn't know. I knew based on the previews what we were gonna get, but because the previews aren't really overhyped or anything like that, at least in terms of days and days before the episode. We might get a little yang yang, a little yin yin, a little something something before like the day of, but we don't really get a lot of a whole lot of reviews in our facials, before the actual episode. So for me, I go into it like, okay, let me see what this about to give. And of course, it just gives very little. Tambra, okay. Tambra can barely be bothered to be there. I guess she working. Is she on the radio all day, 24/7? Is that the only voice you hear when you turn on the radio stations down to the Jackson? I, for one, do not listen to the radio. And if I was, I would be listening to the Sirius so I could check out some people podcasting and stuff like that. Because I like to hear people talk just as much as I like to talk myself. So let's get into it. Now, I would have done this live because I saw some comments saying that y'all like the live videos. But I got to tell y'all the truth. Live videos take me out. I feel like y'all know I tell y'all all the time. I start off thinking I'm going to be real serious because we're going to talk about the things in this episode that we need to talk about. But then suddenly, somehow, some way, on some level, the spirit takes over and I get to preaching the sermon. By the time I'm finished with my sermonette, okay, I got to sit in front of the computer screen for about a good 30 minutes, just sitting here looking. Face stuck, body stuck, tired, okay? And it lasts me all day because when I'm doing these reviews, I'm literally giving you my all, okay? I am giving it everything. I'm not trying to half butt it or whatever like that because, and right now I'm doing it and I'm lifted off this Benadryl, okay? I'm looped. Okay, I'm like, my allergies is bad, and so I'm giving you the best that I got, baby. But we're gonna get through it. So anyway, I don't know. This episode was just filled with a lot of stuff that I just wasn't even knew I was gonna be getting and or ready for. So I liked it. All right. We start this episode off. Gucci is meeting with her daughter D. I've been wondering where D was ever since she was at Tambra's event and they was shading her down. But she's having some issues since she's had the baby with her man. And they get to talking about, Sanjay and Star being upset because, Ashante has pressed the charges against Selena, aka Sanjay and Star and the other baby's mama. Now I say young baby because Monique say my sweet babies. Okay, so that's when I say that, that's what I'm talking about. Not like she's my baby, you know what I'm saying? Not like that. But anyway, D has been keeping her distance from that family because they say she was jealous because they was on the TV first. Woo, baby. I mean, this TV thing, it just take these people to it, baby. But listen, I guess I get it. You know what I'm saying? For me, nothing about, being on TV strikes me as being like, ooh, like, oh my God. Like, I mean, and maybe it's because I've been doing it for so long that it just don't, you know what's funny to me? I see people change when it comes to TV. Okay, I ain't gonna even lie to you. I see people change, not the people usually on the TV, because they you supposed to change. But I do see the people around the people that are on TV. I definitely see a change when it happens to somebody who they feel like they can be in proximity with. Baby, woo woo. You talking? But I ain't gonna say no names. And I ain't want to gossip. You ain't heard that from me. So anyway, Gucci says that Selena assaulted her. Okay, so I still need to see this. I still need to see this altercation or this falsification because it sounds like they was rolling on the ground. So until I see that, I can't really assess whether or not she was assaulted or not. Okay, but now Selena is allegedly jealous that Gucci is on TV. Oh yes, Selena must be all the jellies because Ashante is gracing our screens. Meanwhile, for some reason, is this the only place that we could go in Mississippi? Is the Break It place? Because here we are down to the Break It place once again. Akeisha and Latrice are meeting, and Akeisha wants to get to the bottom of what's going on with Latrice and Clip and why Clip act the way that he do. And if Latrice is in trouble, Latrice, if you in trouble, blink twice. Okay, that's basically what Akeisha is saying. Finally, we get a new confessional from. That's another reason why I'm giving this episode a 10 because we got not one, not two, not but three new confessionals. And y'all know I've been asking for these confessionals from probably about 4 weeks ago, 4, 5 weeks, 10 weeks ago. I've been asking for new confessionals. Reality TV show producers and stars lobby for new confessionals. At least, I mean, for real, I mean, with a show if you got 10, 15 episodes, ain't no way you shouldn't have at least 3, 4 confessional looks. Every time you go to sit in that chair, they need to be wearing something different. Give these women an opportunity to show some fabulosity, and that's how you can actually grow. Okay. And you know what? I was about to give some advice to some reality TV stars, but I'm gonna save that because I feel like, every time I give away information for free, I feel like don't nobody take it. But I feel like they take it when they got to pay for it. Now, not to say that I'm about to try to charge these folks or nothing like that, but what I am saying, I feel like people take it more seriously when they got to pay for it. But baby, let me tell you something. I could definitely tell you as a reality TV star how to level up your game. Okay. And we could take a look at a couple of examples from a couple of different shows so I could show you. But until somebody asks me, then I'm just going to keep my mouth closed. Keep your legs closed to marry men. So anyway, Akeisha wants to get all the Bells together, and be on a good foot. Yes. And then they recap how good it was. Latrice came to the stripper gate party or whatever. And Akeisha wants to tea on why Cliff has an issue with the scripper. Well, Akeisha, it is because the scripper, his clunker was clunking. The clunker was like this. And Cliff say that when you have strippers over to the Ponderosa, with the ladies, then the clunker need to be like this. And if the clunker ain't like this, and it look like this, Cliff is going, aka Thanos, aka the Overlord, aka the Undertaker, aka the Overseer, aka God Emperor Almighty. Okay. And if what he say is gospel, okay, if you Latrice. So anyway, Akeisha wants the tea on why, Cliff had the issue with the scripper, and Akeisha reveals that she's worried about Latrice, and she lets Latrice know that if she ever needs any marital advice or counsel, that she is here. And I did feel like Akeisha was genuine in this moment, but I think Latrice has her guard up because she also knows that Akeisha is really, really mad cool with Shantae, okay? Who still, for whatever reason, blames Latrice for the altercation she had with Latrice, with Selena. Shantae, let me ask you a question. Was it Latrice's fault that you told Selena she was an extra? Okay. Now, I'm not saying that deserved a bit down, but what I am saying is everybody seemed like they had a part to play. What you could have done was simply said, because she's usually at y'all functions, as we saw in this episode, hey girl, and kept it moving. Period. Oh, you know what? I didn't even see you standing right there beside Tambra, all taller than 10 feet taller than her. I didn't even see you right there. I should have been looking up. Okay. Sorry, girl. I'm off to go get me a drink. Bye. That's what you could have said. Okay. But instead, you chose violence that day. Okay. And not in the literal sense, but in the verbal sense. Okay. In the shade sense. Now, again, I got to say it 25,000 times. We don't condone the violence on this channel. But let me tell you something. I definitely, if it's in the show, I still want to see it. So anyway, Latrice then catches up with Letitia, wants to catch up with the Gooch. Okay. The Gooch invites her to a charity event, and usually Selena's at this event, but not this time. Hopefully, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Shantae is hoping that Selena was in the good jail cell. Okay, so anyway, allegedly, and so anyway, Gooch feels like Latrice set her up, and her and Clip are just miserable people because she was wallowing out around on the floor with Selena. Now, again, it is always Latrice. It's a cloudy day outside here. It must be Latrice and Cliff. It must be Thanos. Thanos is in the background making things move. What did he say? Telling people when to eat, when to drink, when to think. Okay, pulling the strings. Now, Letitia then says that Cliff and Latrice left the last event just as soon as she arrived, and Latrice must have realized that Cliff was out too long. That's what I think Gucci said, something like that. And so Letitia thinks that Latrice is lying and covering up for her husband and needs their help. And Latrice is forcing her beliefs on everybody else. How, Sway? How? Now, here's what I do think. I do think Cliff was way out of pocket for contacting Glenn and working him up and getting Letitia in trouble the night of Scrippergate. But outside of that, in terms of, Latrice lying and denying or whatever you guys are claiming that she's doing, it sounds to me like she is just trying to make it. Okay. That's what it seemed like. And it sounds to me also like she ain't got a lifeline in this group of women that she could actually really confide in, because it sounds like y'all will turn on the woman in a heartbeat. Okay. And I'm not necessarily sure why that is, but it is. And it is what it is. Okay. Latrice then says she meets up with Cliff, and oh my God, she has great news. She has signed a distribution deal, don't you know, to get her beauty products, her hair products into stores worldwide. I'm a worldwide woman. Okay. And so then she forgot to tell Cliff, though, that she signed a deal about 2 weeks ago. Okay. Now he is irate. You need to run these things by Thanos first, Latrice. You need to run these things by him so that he can make sure that you don't look stupid. That's basically what he's saying to her. I don't like the tone. I don't like what he's saying. I don't like what he's insinuating, because as far as I know, and as far as what she says, okay, from my remembrance, she has always stated that this business was hers. Now, I don't understand where it comes in that you, as the husband, now have ownership or control, unless she sold you the company, over the business that moves that she makes. It's as her own woman, as her own boss of her business. Why do you need to have any say so over what she does in her business? Unless it has been a protocol that she has typically done so, in which case she has set herself up for now. It makes him feel like, oh, well, now I'm not being included where maybe he was before. I don't know. But what I know is Thanos is not happy today. Okay. She is trying to prove herself worthy enough to be his equal in his eyes. And my sweet baby, let me tell you something. If he does not view you as an equal, he just doesn't view you as an equal, and he likely never will. Now, what she's going to say later on to her mother is that basically she never should have called him Zaddy because she realizes that now he's going to treat her like a daughter, okay? A daughter. And she is not the daughter, and now she wants to be liberated, all right? So I think this may be a lesson for some of the single ladies out there or the married ladies. If you are running around calling your husband Zaddy or calling your husband daddy, then at the end of the day, what you need to do is make sure that he's not looking at you like his daughter, okay? Because even in that instance, that's kind of like, that's a little odd. So anyway, he says that he's wasting his time trying to talk to her and even be with her. He said it. I rewound that. And she's trying, she's on her end, she's trying to do things to let him know that she does not need him in that way. And in hopes that that will make him see that they are equal. And I'm gonna tell you, Latrice, I don't think he wants an equal. I don't think he wants that. I think if you gave him something different in the beginning of that relationship, he still wants the same thing. Bottom line is Latrice is growing and thriving, not only as a result of her success in business, but likely for being on this television show. She's getting a lot more exposure. So she may not be the same woman that she used to be. But you guys are gonna have to find a way to meet in the middle in order to navigate the level of success that she is now having. Because quite frankly, it sounds like it might just be overshining yours. Okay. Um, she walks out to talk to him after he walks off and says that, I can see where you will be upset. Why, Sway? It ain't his business. Okay. Anyway, he says, well, if everything goes sour, you're gonna look like a fool. And if she don't get her way, that's when she start to crying them crocodile tears. As she does start crying, all she wanted from this man was some congratulations, and she got to drive off in tears. And then we find out later she's going to be staying at her brother's house for quite some time because she do not want to be in the house dealing with Thanos, aka the Overlord. So I guess it's true. Thanos snapped and she was gone. Okay. Um, Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Letitia has the local news coming over to get the footage of her talking about her boss and Belle brunch. Finally, we are getting a brunch. Finally, it has happened to me. Okay. Let me tell you something. Belle Collective is synonymous with brunch. We gonna definitely need a brunch, whether it's at the beginning or the end. Now, I prefer it to be at the beginning. I want a brunch at the beginning. I want a brunch at the end, okay? Because that's what I feel like I come to know this show for. Now I know what Carlos told me. He said that you're not gonna get the same thing all the time because we want to give y'all something different. But I'm gonna tell you, I like a brunch. If I see Letitia, I'm thinking brunch. All right, period. So that's just me though. That's just what I want. I also want confessionals about 3, 4, 5, 6 looks. Okay. So anyway, because they got to be calling them at least 3, 4, 5 times. I mean, as many times as I've seen these wigs slid differently on across these ladies' heads. So in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, you need to go ahead and give these people some new confessional looks. Okay, so the wig ain't got to be just shifted a little different. When Beyonce was on when she was on Dream Girl, she said, turn the wigs around. That's what it's giving. Okay. It's giving, turn the wigs around. And the Effie over there looking at her like, girl, if you don't get out my face and let me just go out here and sing my song better than you. So anyway, um, Marie stops by and Letitia wants to, make her a panelist on the brunch, but she wants her to be a panelist with Latrice. And Marie is like, this is what this is all about. We've been arguing about this behind the scenes. Okay, so we get a little behind the scenes tea, a little breaking the fourth wall. And from Marie, she also says this is why we can't move forward in business. Now, what other business opportunities are we thinking about? So Marie has a lingering issue with Letitia not believing her from when she told her that Latrice knew some people, I guess, that was coming after Marie. Now we get a flashback of Essie and Latrice talking about said people that was on the phone. I have actually heard this story from both ends because it really permeated throughout the end of season 1 and all throughout season 2. I could really break this story down based on what I feel like I've heard. But to be quite honest with you, I'm a little uninterested because to me, it just feels so old and played out. But here we are. I guess you could say the same thing about bringing up, Latoya and Drew kissing, or, you know, the Marlo situation with Candy. But here we are. Issues that have been lingering are now coming to the surface. So they have this whole argumentation about Letitia now knowing this information that Latrice has said. Oh, yes, she did know them. Okay. Now you got to go back to my interviews to see the full thing. I ain't gonna give it to you now because, quite frankly, I am over it. And I thought we would not have to revisit this issue ever again, but here we are. And here we go. This argument gets so bad that Marie is literally going to make Letitia apologize to her. And finally, Letitia does apologize because she knows that Latrice did at least admit to knowing the people that was coming after Marie. And Marie feels vindicated, but she feels like Letitia has never taken her side in that situation fully. And so it felt to me like Letitia, I mean, I'm gonna tell you what it felt like. It felt like Letitia was beat into submission with this apology, and then when she started crying, Marie was like, "Okay," and then she's like, "Don't cry. What's going on with you and Glenn, girl? What's going on with you and Glenn?" And you know, Letitia's like, "Oh, we dating again." And we in a better space. And Marie's like, girl, you said the same thing the last time, okay? And in her confessional, she says Letitia just needs to leave Glenn. Now, quiet as it's kept. Now, while Latrice and Cliff have a different issue, a different set of issues that is causing issues throughout the group. So I can see the level of concern that Letitia may have because it has directly impacted her. But at the same time, I do feel like, Letitia, you are in a situation, and it has also impacted Marie because she was going to sign for you to get an apartamente, okay, in her name, so that Glenn could not come around and claim space in her new place, okay, because it belonged to Marie, should it have come about. So the same level of concern could be going your way too, Letitia, to be fair. Now, granted, I think that the Cliff and Latrice situation is a lot different, but it's still a relationship that feels like it has some toxic energy. Okay. So, um, we talked about Latrice and her mom. We learned that she's staying at her dad's place, and now we know she has promised not to call him Zaddy no more because she realizes that it put him in the position of being a father figure for her. So it's the day of Ashante and JJ's donation event. We finally see Tambra, and oh my goodness, she has a new confessional too. Thank the Lord. Everybody looks amazing in their new confessionals. Lord have mercy. Please don't use those old confessionals no more. I don't care if you got to get them to come in and film it all over again. I do not want to see somebody said it last week. They see if they see that one dangling Tata one more time, from that off the shoulder dress that Latrice had, they was gonna scream. Okay. Now the thing about it is, again, in one or two, three episodes, fine. But if I gotta see that, if I gotta see the same look, or like for 15 episodes, I'm annoyed. Okay. because I know what I'm used to. Meanwhile, it don't matter that that Tambra's there. She got to go anyway because she got to work 24/7. She really just came on a lunch break. Okay, okay. Anyway, JJ's girls, Sanjay and Sky show up, and Gucci is just gonna stay in her corner because she ain't come into contact with them before this Ponderosa. And so two different news stations pull up to support So Gucci and JJ. Akeisha and the Willie pull up. Letitia then pulls Latrice to the side to let her know how Cliff is treating her in public. And I'm like, girl, I think she know. But Letitia says that she is concerned that he's treating Letitia says that she's concerned that Thanos is treating Latrice like a little girl. Little girl. Okay. If you watch Salt Lake City, you will know who said that. Okay. Little girl. And so Letitia lets her know, girl, your marriage is the topic of conversation. Okay. And you can no longer, Latrice, cover up what he's doing to you. It almost sounds like an intervention of sorts. Like, this is the kind of conversation you would have with somebody that's been like, you know, I mean, y'all know what I'm talking about. So Letitia then says, I mean, if he's comfortable saying these things to you in public, what is he doing in private? And that's a fair question, to be honest with you. You know, I would have to wager, if I were looking at this situation from someone who is close to it, that is something that I probably would tell one of my friends. But I would probably, you know, in this day and age, though, I am highly unlikely to ever get involved in any of my friends' relationships. I just would not do it, because what I know to be sure, and what I know for sure, is that 9 times out of 10, that person usually goes back until they have had enough. Okay. And I'm talking usually Jennifer Lopez style enough, where you just didn't had enough and you got to flee. Okay. Sierra style, Sierra Gates. So anyway, I just know for a fact that that is typically how things go. The person will not leave until they are absolutely ready to leave. And what they typically do, not saying that this is Latrice, but what typically happens is that friend will begin to isolate, so that you, the other friend, the concerned friend, don't know anything about what's going on and how deeply they are hurting. Now, what I will also say too is, okay, now I don't know how I would feel about listening to any of the ladies in this group if I were Latrice, mostly because I think she would have a hard time accepting anything that they say, because it doesn't sound like she trusts any of the ladies in this group based on what I'm seeing in the episodes. So I think the best bet would be some level of Iyanla Vanzant counseling. Yes, I did say Iyanla. I mean, that's how deep I feel like it is. Because if Latrice is trying to emancipate herself in this situation, it is going to be very difficult for her to do, because I think Cliff is set in his ways. And I think that he is in a position where he is mad comfortable, and he's becoming uncomfortable with how independent Latrice is becoming. And it's only likely to get worse as her star continues to ascend. The same thing goes for you, Letitia. You are likely going to have the same issues, not the same, excuse me, pardon me, but you are definitely likely to have issues with Glenn as you continue to grow in your purpose. Your purpose obviously is inspiring women and moving in spaces and curating spaces and events for women to come together and in celebration of each other, business, and more. And sometimes that calling separates us from people who are no longer serving us in the way that we needed them years ago. And so as you grow, sometimes leaves will fall off of the branch, and you just have to let them fall. You can't try to continue to hold on to something because you're used to that leaf being on the branch. But in order for you to really grow, and in this situation, from what I can see, I think Letitia, your star is also rising. So I think you might have to grow and then you might have to let go. Okay? That's all I got for y'all today. I will catch you all in the next video.
So, Desiree Davenport, what are you hoping to accomplish with this show?
Honestly, I've lost everything in the most horrible way possible. And listen, I want it all back. I'm willing to build it piece by piece, and I mean brick by brick.
Oh, honey, she is done. I bet you a Birkin she doesn't last all season with us. Just watch.
I'm Misha Hill, and I'd like to consider myself the matriarch of this dynamic group of ladies. I mean, someone has to keep them under control.
I'm Davita Delaney.
I think I could teach these ladies a thing or two about how to get and keep a good man.
They said she was a gold digger. She ain't hear that from me.
I'm just really looking forward to being surrounded by other empowering bosses.
Yes, I know exactly what she's doing. And if she keep playing in my face, I'm gonna have to let out all her dirty little secrets just like she did to me. And I'm not playing.
Let's get this straight. If I brought you into this circle, I just as easily can take you out. She ain't running nothing over here, okay? She needs to be worried about running that household and worried about why that husband of hers is never at home.
Oh, hell.
Ooh, child, this is about to be a mess.
Oh my God, I hate mess. What in the world did I get myself into?